Right, none of these factor, so we just have to use the quadratic formula on all of them, which remember says x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divisible by 2a. So a equals 1, b equals negative 7, and c equals 5. So I've got x is going to equal minus a negative 7 plus or minus the square root negative 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5, all divisible by 2 times 1. So that's going to equal 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 minus 20, all divisible by 2, which equals 7 plus or minus the square root of 29 divisible by 2.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes?
Did you mean to share the screen?
Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. Yeah. Thanks.
It's okay.
Yeah. I was having issues with it this morning. I shared it, and then I had to stop sharing it, and apparently I forgot to reshare it again. Whew. There we go. Is that better? Sorry. And then, so I'll keep 1 up there while I do 2. So a equals 2, b equals 7, and c equals negative 3. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times a times c, all divisible by 2 times a. So that's negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 24, all divisible by 4. So I think we get negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 73 divisible by 4. Can't simplify it. Wow, we got easy ones. Okay, and then number 3, a equals 9, b equals negative 12, and c equals 4. So minus a negative 12 plus or minus the square root, negative 12 squared, minus 4 times a times c, all divisible by 2 times a. So we've got 12 plus or minus the square root 144 minus 144, all divisible by 18, which equals 12 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 18, which is 12 over 18, or 2/3. Enter. And that. Okay. Any questions on quadratic formula? Now you guys were able to do it. Those of you who actually did it. So. Okay, so we're moving on to the second, the last part of this unit, which is the solutions of quadratic equations. So we're just going to talk about the discriminant. And the discriminant is only the part underneath the square root, is the b squared minus 4ac. That tells us a whole lot about my solution, the type of solution that I'm going to get. So when it's positive, so if I solve for it and I get a positive answer for that, that means I'm going to have 2 real answers, right? So I'm going to have like 2/3 and 1/5, or 3 and 6, or negative 6 and 10. Does that make sense? 2 real answers. Okay, if it equals 0, I get 1 real solution, just like we did here. What was inside the square root was negative, right? And I got 1 real answer. By the way, these answers were positive. What was underneath the square root here? I'm going to highlight it, I think. No. Yeah. What was underneath? Oh, sorry, underneath here was positive. This is a real solution. Both of these are real solutions, even though they've got square roots in them. It's still a real answer, okay? And then if it's negative, I get two complex solutions, or imaginary solutions, right? So I get the I in it. If I have a negative inside my square root, I have an imaginary answer. So if it's positive, I have two real solutions. If it's 0, I get one real solution. And if it's negative, I get two imaginary solutions. And sometimes they just want to know what type of solution I'm getting. They don't want to know what the solution is. They just want to know if it's going to be real or if it's going to be imaginary, and how many. Am I going to have one or two? And so that's why we find the discriminant. And they really do that like in engineering stuff to find points. So we're going to just do that. That's all we're going to, well, that's the first thing we're going to do today. So it just says determine the type of what type of number, what the heck? Determine what type of number the solutions are and how many solutions exist. Okay, that was weird. Still sounds weird to me. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to find b squared minus 4ac, right? So I'm going to find a, b, and c, put it into b squared minus 4ac. And then I'm going to say, do I have two real, one real, or two imaginary solutions? And that's it. Okay? So if I have a equals -2, and b equals -1, and c equals 3, and remember I'm putting it inside of b squared minus 4ac. That's all. That's the only part I'm using of the quadratic formula. It's gonna be, let's see, -1 squared minus 4 times -2 times 3. That gives me 1 plus 24 equals 25. So it's positive, right? It's a positive answer. So I have two real solutions. That's it. That's all I have to do. Okay, and it says, how do I know I have two real solutions? Because 25 is positive, I have two real solutions. Okay? And then, sorry. If we go into number 2 here, A is 1, B is 4, and C is 6. So I get, what do I get? 4 squared minus 4 times A times C. So that's going to be 16 minus 24 is -8. So now I have a negative answer. So that means I have two imaginary solutions. Right here, two imaginary solutions. Because my answer was negative. Any questions so far? I know you did this like in 10th grade, you should have done this. So, I mean, it's been a while. And then if we go to number 3, A equals 8, B equals 7, C equals 6. Oof, okay. So 7 squared minus 4 times 8 times 6, 49 minus, get out my calculator, sorry. 4 times 8 times 7 is 224. So I'm going to get some negative answer, negative 175. So that's going to give me two imaginary solutions. Okay? Questions? Everyone okay? All right, so there's five problems. I'll make it bigger. You guys go ahead and put the answer. For the first, I'm just going to give you what the answer is. If you need me to go over one, just let me know. So I've got, for the first one, I've got two imaginary solutions. And part B is I was also going to say also, but it's not. One real solution, because it ended up being 0, right? And then C is, what is C? Oh, 2 imaginary solutions. And then D is, what is D? 2 real solutions. And E is 1 real solution. Is there any of them you need me to go over? Anybody? Got them all right? Good job. Okay. So the next page, and on the next page. Okay. So it says write a quadratic equation. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to find my mouse here. Here we go. Write a quadratic equation in standard form having the numbers as solutions. So I'm going to just write. They've given me the solution, right? So I've solved for it. Now I want to find the equation that those solutions came from. So this is how I kind of think about it when I'm doing this. So I know that I had the x equals -5 and x equaled 4, right? So remember, I'm working backwards, so I'm going to do everything backwards from when I solve. So I know that I'm going to add 5 to both sides and subtract 4 to both sides. So I get x plus 5 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. Are we okay with that so far? That makes sense? We okay? So then I know, because it's a quadratic, I know that I had x plus 5 times x minus 4, right? Equals 0. I better put that in there, right? That's how I got them separated out. Because if I have 2 things multiplied together, they equal 0, one of them has to equal 0. So then I'm putting them back together. Now to find it in standard position, all I'm going to do is just multiply it out. That's it. So I can use the box method, or you can FOIL. It doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. You can do it in your head if you can. I don't care. So I get x squared, and then 5x, negative 4x, negative 20. So it's going to be x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. And that's my answer right there. Done. Okay, so number 2, keep it on the screen here. Beautiful. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I know that I had x equals -2 and x equals 8. So if I work backwards, I'm adding 2 and subtracting 8. So I've got x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 8 equals 0, which came from x plus 2 times x minus 8 equals 0. And now I can FOIL if I want to, right? I can take x times x and x times -8, and then I can take it that way. I'm just doing this one differently, so you guys can do it whichever way you want, right? So x times x is x squared. X times -8 is -8x. 2x and -16. So that gives me x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. Questions on that? We're okay so far? Awesome sauce. The next one is a little teeny bit harder than this because my answers are fractions. Yay, love fractions. I know you guys do too. Okay, but I'm still setting it up the same way. So I've got x equals -1/4 and x equals -1/2. Well, how do I get rid of fractions? Multiply by the denominator, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. Multiply by 4, and then multiply by 2, right? So that I end up with 4x equals -1, and 2x equals -1. then add 1 to both sides. And I get 4x plus 1 equals 0, and 2x plus 1 equals 0. So see, just slightly harder, right? Not too much batter. Wow. Okay. And then I'm going to get 4x plus 1 times 2x plus 1 equals 0. And then multiply it out, right? I'm just going to come over here and do it. So that gives me 2x and 4x plus 1. So 8x squared, 4x, 2x, and 1. So I get 8x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so if it's a fraction, I just have to do one additional step, which is multiply by the denominator first, and then do my add or subtract. Because I'm just doing everything backwards. Okay? And so there's a whole bunch of problems for you guys to do. Do you still need to see that problem, Leslie? I didn't know if you were done writing. You're done? Okay, sorry. So let's go ahead and try these. I know there's a few. You're killing me. Okay, A, I think I got, what did I get for A? Oh, I got x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 0. I guess I should put that. And then for B, I got x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0. We're okay there? Awesome. And then plus C, I got 4x squared minus 23x plus 15. Good? Okay. D, what did I get for D? 6x squared minus 5x plus 1 equals 0. E, now this one's where it gets a little teeny bit harder, but not really, right? I got x squared minus 3 equals 0. Yes, no, maybe? Are you sure? That was kind of like I'm not sure how you got that. You're not sure how you got it? Okay. So, it's okay. You just need to tell me and I'll do it. So, right, I've got x plus the square root of 3 times x minus the square root of 3, right? It just goes in the parentheses with the sign changed, right? Okay, so and then when I do a square root or an I usually always do the box method because it's a little, I don't know, I can just work inside the box. And then x minus the square root of 3, right? So I've got x squared, and then x square root of 3, and negative x square root of 3, and then negative square root of 9, which is negative 3. Okay? So these cancel out because they're opposites of each other, so those are gone. And so I end up with x squared minus 3. Which part didn't you get when you were doing it? Did you get that those two canceled out?
Yeah.
So it was just the negative 3? Yeah, remember you multiply the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 gives you the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. Did you leave it as a square root of 9?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Just simplify that. Okay? Okay, and then the 4, and then the F with the i's, you get x squared plus 16. So if you multiply that out, you probably got the things canceled out, right? And that last one, 4i times negative 4i gives you negative 16i squared. But remember, what does I squared equal? I squared equals negative 1, right? So negative 1 times negative 16 is positive 16. Got to remember that. Okay. So, and that works out just the same as this one, exactly the same. Okay. So, and then let's see, G is x squared minus 20 equals 0. And doing the same thing as with the square root of 3, right? So square root of 2 times 2 square root of 5 times 2 square root of 5 is 4 square root of 25, and the square root of 25 is 5, so 4 times 5 is 20. Right? Okay. And then this one would be, what is this one? X squared plus 9 equals 0. And that's it. Okay. All right, time for the last section. And there's only a few problems on this one. But it's doing what we're doing now, only with 3 terms, 3 solutions. So when I get done, I should have a cube, right? I should have an x cube when I get done. So I'm going to start out doing the same thing as I did with the, oh my goodness, I can't breathe. Sorry. I should start out doing it the same way, right? I've got x equals negative 2 and x equals 1 and x equals 5. So when I do the reverse of it, I should end up with x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 1 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0 because I'm subtracting 5, subtracting 1, and adding 2. Is everyone okay with that? Okay, and then I should get x plus 2 times x minus 1 times x minus 5 equals 0. Now, you have to multiply this in 2 different steps, right? I can't just multiply it in one step. So I'm just going to do 2 of them together. So I can multiply like the first 2 together where I would get, let's see what I'm going to get, x squared minus x plus 2x minus 2 times x minus 5. So that is x squared plus x minus 2 times x minus 5. And now I have to do the last one, and definitely doing a box on this one. X squared, x negative 2, x minus 5. So x cubed, x squared, negative 2x, negative 5x squared, negative 5x, and positive 10. So my answer should be x cubed minus 4x minus 7x plus 10 equals 0. So it's just one additional step. I have to multiply one additional time, right? Oh. And then if I go to number 2, try and keep number 1 up there for you guys. I've got, let's see, so this would be x plus 5 times x minus 2. But what about the 0? So let me do this. Oops, so sorry. Let's do this the other way. So I've got x equals negative 5, x equals 0, and x equals 2. So when I rewrite these, I've still got x plus 5 equals 0, x equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So when I multiply them together, I've got x plus 5 times x minus 2 times x, times the third one. If I just have it equal to 0, I just have to have an x there. Okay, so I'm going to multiply again. This one will be a little easier multiplication. Let's see. So again, I'm just going to do the FOIL method. So I've got x squared minus 2x plus 5x minus 10, and then times x. So x squared plus 3x minus 10 all times x. So that gives me x cubed plus 3x squared minus 10x equals 0. So that one's a little easier multiplication because there's not a, it's, that third term's, the third one's not a binomial, it's just a monomial, so makes it a little easier to multiply out. Okay, so you guys go ahead. I'm going to try and keep that on there. There we go. Try and do A and B. Let's go ahead and finish these. So you should have multiplied together, let's see, x plus 1 times x minus 3 times x, and gotten x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x equals 0. Okay? And then on this one, part B, you should have multiplied together x plus 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 3. Okay. And gotten x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12 equals 0. Any questions on either one of them? Nice. Good job. Okay.